Hello everyone. Today in this video I'm going to cover the topic of the three layers of life, and these are is the corresponding to the three modes or qualities of the material nature, and also as a and also the way to happiness. And I'm going to start with the contents of this video. So it's going to be the three fundamental qualities of material nature, as well as what are uh, the 10 conductors of these qualities. Then there will be a link with modern psychology, also the four areas of life, as well as the happy life and the spiritual development. And to begin with, I'm going to start with the concept that can be found in the different spiritual traditions. That is, like the two of them would be either materialism or transcendentalism. And as for the spiritual traditions like Christianity or be it Islam or some different branches of Vedic tradition, Buddhism or something else, there is something that stands above this material being, and this is the divine or God Himself. And apart from that, we have the living entities as well as the material nature. And as for the material nature, the divine is having an impact on it with the energy of time. And as for us living beings who interact with the material nature, there is the metaphysical law of cause and effect, and there is also the infinite love that is coming from the divine towards us. And as for the material nature itself, it's said that it consists of the three fundamental qualities, which could be translated from the language of Sanskrit and called in English as goodness, passion, or ignorance. And as for the general qualities of these modes of material nature, could be either called goodness could be also called the positive energy, and it stands for the aspects of harmony, clarity, also balance in life, knowledge. And as for passion, as you can see on the screen, it's also it could be also called the neutral energy, and these are all the processes of movement, transformation, activities, desires, something that is going beyond the limits of something, something that is going to the something that is too much as well. And as for the ignorance or the negative energy, here we can see the aspects of darkness, laziness, delusion, or intoxication or destruction in the being around us. And we can also see that if we would present each of the qualities on a graph, then as for goodness, that this would be something like a stable wavelength, which could also depict the life of a certain person, where everything is in balance, like the time of waking up, or with the balance of work and leisure time, with the aspects of mood or inner states. And as for passion, we can see that it's red in color, unlike goodness, which could be described as yellow or white. And passion, which is red, and which could be also presented as a graph of either high peaks or low positions of the on the graph, and with rapid changes, either too much or something, or too little, either a very good mood or being depressed or something like that. So this is something rather more moving, not really stable. And as for the mode of ignorance, this could be presented as either bluish or black in color. And as for the graph, it would be something like really unstable, with not really having a pattern, something that is related to destruction or instability. And if we see how these qualities can be seen in a certain person, then for the quality of goodness, we would see such qualities in a person like peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, and knowledge, and also wisdom, religiousness, and also it could also be compared to experiencing a sense of happiness, which is coming from within. This is something that we're going to cover later in this video. And as for the quality of passion, this is something that could be experienced as having unlimited desires, attachment, or greed, envy, or some kind of a pride about having something, some intense material fruitive activities, like when someone is too attached to having certain things in life, and being ready to work like heavily in order to get them. And this is also the duality of happiness and distress. And also, if we talk about the mode of ignorance, then these are the qualities and inner states like anger, forgetfulness, madness, violence, some sort of sorts of conflicts, depression, and foolishness. And if we consider them from the point of view of the time paradigms, then we can also see that the mode of goodness is basically being in the present moment. Like, for instance, if we're talking to somebody, we would see that they are fully attentive, being in the present moment, right here and right now. And these are the aspects that could be also found in that could be also described as like this person is kind and fully attentive, considerate, thoughtful. And we can also see that this can be described as the be to have paradigm, which means that at first a person truly knows who they are, their roles in the society, what they experience inside, and based on that, they know exactly what is to be done and what is not to be done, acting according to one's roles, having a good behavior. And this goes from the true understanding of who one really is, which is be, and then the actions, which go into the category of do, and then only after that we have the have aspect, which means that based on that a person would be able to have things according to what they do, and this would be all in balance altogether. When it starts with be, then it goes to do and have, and this is the mode of passion. This is the mode of goodness. And as for the mode of passion, this is when a person is too focused on the future. That is to the extent that they're not being able to be right here and right now. And for example, in a conversation with such a person in passion, we would see that they are somewhere in the future in their thoughts, somewhere out of this situation, not really being attentive or thoughtful in this exact situation. And as for the paradigm, this would be the do have be, which means a person in mode of passion in this case would choose what is to be done at first, and based on that they would have certain things, which is in the have category, and only after that they would consider themselves happy. So to be happy, so to do, then to have, and then to be. And this is the passion paradigm. And for the ignorance, this is mostly being stuck in the past, which means that still it's also not being able to perceive the present moment, not really being right here and right now. And that is also considering that it was better in the past comparing to where it is now. And we would often find these people in the mode of ignorance as either victims of what is happening in their lives. So it means that they would consider themselves victims of the circumstances, and these are also the position of a child, like the ego state of a child in the transactional analysis. And this is also the have to be paradigm, which means a person in ignorance would think, if only I could have this and that, and based on that I would be able to do this and that, and only after that I would be happy. So these are the aspects of first to have, to do, and then to be, which is the representation of the mode of ignorance. And then, if we consider the 10 conductors of these three qualities, these are as the following that you can see on the screen. And based on with which conductor you get in contact with, it means this the same, in the same way you will be conditioned. So it means, as for the let's say the sources of information, and this is something that could be included in the category of either books, movies, or the music that we listen to, or some billboards on the streets, some postings that we see on the social media. So it means that if we get in contact with those sources that are in the mode of goodness, it means that we would be able to experience happiness from within, some clarity, harmony, and some other things that are the features of the mode of goodness. And the same could be also said about the sources of information and passion, which means that we would be conditioned in the way that in a way how passion could be described, like with having unlimited desires, being in the duality of happiness and distress. Or the same could be said with the sources in ignorance, let's say, which would condition one to experience some depression or laziness, or something like that life is unfair. So these are the 10 conductors, as you can see on the screen, and we're going to start going one by one with the pictures, which would represent each of the three qualities there. And we're starting with the sources of information, and I'm going to consider the aspect of the movies. Let's say if we talk about a movie in goodness, it means that there in that movie we would see people who are kind, who are able to do their duties, who are who work on themselves, where certain types of environment are a certain type of environment can be seen, different scenarios that bring clarity and harmony in life. And also, as for the movies in goodness, these are something that could teach us something good, and how to be a good person, how to do your roles better, how to be more kind, more thoughtful, more charitable, more balanced from within. And if we talk about the source of information and passion, then this is something that the Hollywood movies are all about in most cases. Let's say when the main character and his allies or enemies are full of greed, envy, or when they want to take some revenge, or when they want to earn something, when they want to trick somebody. And this is something where we would also see the different aspects of the sensual pleasures, some luxury things, something that is sometimes too exaggerated or too good to be true, or when let's say the main character is always winning, and others are let's say losers compared to him. And for instance, if we talk about the movies in ignorance, this is something which could be as for instance, as for movies in passion, these are usually action movies, and for the movies in ignorance, these are horror movies, thrillers, or something like that. And these are the movies that cause one to experience some fear, terror, a sense of that something is not fair, something with hard feelings and some strong negative emotions. And you can also consider yourself going out from a movie theater, and based on the movie that you just seen, just from stepping out from the movie theater and seeing the world around you, you would usually see it from the perspective. I would say the first seconds or minutes you would experience the world around you from the perspective of the movie that you have just seen. So it means if you just seen the movie in the mode of goodness, it means that you will be able to see the world around you in a brighter colors, with being more able to see some aspects of good and kindness in the world. As for the movies in the mode of passion, this is something after which you would experience the world around you as something like seeing greed or envy, or some desires or selfishness in others. And also with the mode of ignorance, we would see that if you step out from the movie theater after watching a horror movie, it means that more likely you would see the world around you in a more like dark grayish colors, with some sort of some sort of like a light depression. And basically these are the sources of information just from the point of view of the movies. And as for other sources, as I mentioned earlier, these are the books, also the social media, the music, or something else that you could also see on the daily basis that informs you about something. And as for the next part, it's going to be the food, which could be also either in goodness, passion, or ignorance. And as for food and goodness, this is something that could be described as something fresh, wholesome, something that is prepared in a good mood, something that is that consists of the fresh organic vegetables and fruits, which does not have meat, fish, or eggs. And when one consumes food in goodness, it means one can experience some sort of harmony and inner clarity, some happiness from within. And as for the food and passion, this is something that could be called as that could be described as either too hot or spicy, like be it chili pepper, or something that is something that causes some sort of a distress, but at the same time, for people in the mode of passion, it could be sort of delicious. And as for food and ignorance, this is something that consists of meat, fish, or eggs, also onion and garlics, also other products of violence, something that is prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, something that is that increases the state of depression or laziness after consuming that. And also as for the associations, as for associations, as these are also one of the conductors of these three modes. It means that with whom we associate, it means we would have the corresponding qualities. And there is also a saying that tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. And let's say in the association in goodness, this is something that can be found among like close friends who not only talk about some mundane things, but about trust, about kindness in the world, about between each other. Also, this is the atmosphere where people can express themselves freely about their inner feelings without and that is without being judged. Something where a person is able to fully express themselves when they can be genuinely who they are. And usually in those associations we would see some harmony, clarity, and mutual trust, understanding, and ability to help each other. And as for the associations in passion, this is something that could be described as like an elite club of unique people, or some kind of a business meeting, or some party for the chosen ones, for something like that. So this is something that, as you can see on the screen, in the middle picture, this is the atmosphere where people are trying to be better than they are, where they are dressed up in the best way, according to how they perceive it and how others would perceive it. We would also find not really genuine emotions, more like fake smiles, and also some atmosphere of inner desires, some greed, some envy, something that is covered with the neutral or sort of a positive facial expression. And this is something where we wouldn't be able to hear like genuine talks. This would be more like a small talk, not really seeing those people who would genuinely help others. There would be some kind of a inner interest, or some selfishness in what they would potentially do. And as for the associations in ignorance, as you can also see on the screen, this is something that could be described as with criminal activities, or some intoxications, some aspects of violence, or the prostitution can be also found in the prostitution mafia, or some of those who are in the business related to intoxicants and something like that. These are all the associations in the mode of ignorance. And if one is there, then more likely they would feel some sort of fear, depression, experiencing the world as something like unfair. And as for the locations, we would also see that a location in the mode of goodness is something that could be described as the place of the nature, or a village, a library, or maybe some university. So something something where we would see some harmony, clarity, usually silence, and also it's an atmosphere of a church, or a temple, or a monastery. And as for the locations in the mode of passion, this is something like a big city where everyone is in a rush, working on getting income from somewhere, spending money on sense gratification at some cafes, or let's say entertainment centers. And as for the location in the mode of ignorance, this is something that could be found on a dirty street somewhere in the city, where there are homeless people, or let's say it could be also a bar, or a nightclub, a slaughterhouse, or a cemetery. These are all the locations in the mode of ignorance. And as for the time of the day, the time and goodness is something that could be found in the time from 2 a.m. until 10 a.m. And this is the time when one is this is the best time for the spiritual practice, or for making plans for the day. And you could also experience that if you wake up, let's say 1.5 hours before the sunrise, and if you sit down to do certain things, to concentrate on something, or to read something, or to do a spiritual practice, this is the time which would be best suitable for like more concentration of the mind, more peacefulness, more inner harmony. And as for the mode of passion, the time of the day would be here as from some 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. And this is something where we would find that most of the world's population work for some result. Like let's say in a huge city, in somewhere in the downtown, we would see like many people running going on the streets, or the office buildings are full of employees doing some work there, and this is what is usually happening from the time from some 10 until some 5 or 6 p.m. And after 6 p.m. there starts the time of the mode of ignorance, where everything is slowing down, as well as the solar activity, and step by step it's getting darker, and we would see that people are usually slower comparing to what it was in the daytime. And after 6 p.m., when the mind is more relaxed, not really being able to concentrate more on some things to be done. So basically this time is best to be spent on some leisure activities, to go for a walk, or to spend time with your friends, and in best case to go to sleep by 10 p.m. And next there goes the activities. As for the activities in the mode of goodness, we can see that this is when a certain person does activities that are regulated, which are in accordance to one's duties, which do not involve violence towards anyone, which is aimed at creating some useful results for others, something that is created without attachment, something with enthusiasm, with some energy and good motivation there. And as for the activities in the mode of passion, this is something where we would see attachment to the outcomes, as well as the duality of happiness and distress. So either achieving what a person wants and thus experiencing some sort of happiness, or if not, then a distress because of that. This is also something that is usually not really regulated, so it's either excessive work, being a workaholic, or being motivated based on the just on the positive results that could be obtained. And when a person does activities in the mode of passion, it means that he's not really able to enjoy the process. He would only be able to enjoy the outcomes, which are either achieved results, which will bring some sort of happiness, or if not, then this will bring the distress. And as for the activities in the mode of ignorance, this is something that is aimed at either self-destruction or destruction either of something in the external world, something that is related to laziness, a lack of clarity of what is being done, something that would sometimes be classified as some illegal activities, some sort of misunderstanding about what is to be done and what is not to be done. And as for birth, we can see that birth in the mode of goodness could be described as being born in the family of those parents who know the values of life, those who know how to behave in the society in the right way. In the best case, if they are spiritual people, so those who are on some certain spiritual path, be it Christianity or let's say Islam, or some sort of Vedic tradition, or Judaism or Buddhism. And as for also for the birth of goodness, it could be also classified as being born from those parents who know how to nurture their child in the right way, so he would grow a person who would live life being a good person, who knows their roles in life, how to do the duties. In best case, to be also a spiritual person, so one who is serious on developing on a certain spiritual path. And also, as for the birth in the mode of passion, this is something that could be classified as being born in a family where where parents, they are mostly focused on material achievements in life, to the extent that they are They don't really care about the child, about his development, and they would sometimes try to compensate it um, with the material benefits they could afford whenever they have time for it. So basically, a child would be sort of neglected from the point of view of the time that their parents would dedicate to him. But at the same time, in some cases, they would give some material benefits as a form of the compensation, and we would often see that a child in this case would be not really satisfied with it. And as for the birth in ignorance, this is something that could be described as being born in a family where parents don't really know what is to be done and what is not to be done, from parents who would probably take intoxicants, where some sort of conflicts and arguments arise pretty often, which would sometimes involve some violence, either psychological or physical, towards someone, including the child. And this is something that would quite often involve negligence of the child, not really doing the duties nor in the society, nor as a father or as a husband, mother, or a wife. And also those things that are related to like being unemployed, not being able to pay the bills. So this would be if a child grows in such conditions, like altogether, this would be classified as a birth in ignorance. And as for the meditation, if it's meditation in the mode of goodness, then this is something that can be classified as meditating on something related to achieving good qualities. So the ones that are of high moral character, something that is related to self-development. So, for instance, when a person meditates on some, let's say, spiritual scriptures in this regard, or maybe as a form of meditation on achieving some project that would be useful for others. So this is the meditation that could be classified this way, and also something that could be described as something that makes the mind more peaceful. And this is the case when a person would pray in his spiritual tradition, be it in Christianity, using the prayers that could be found in the holy books of that religion, or be it from Islam or Judaism or some other tradition like Vedic tradition as well. And for the meditation in the mode of passion, this is something that could be described as meditating on some material benefits, some commodities, more money, more health, more status in the society. This is something that could be described as, let's say, you make a vision board where you would put the things that you want to achieve in life, and then you contemplate it, you contemplate it in front of yourself, or you think about it, or you sit down in a meditation and imagining yourself already having a car, or maybe a huge mansion or a yacht or something, other luxury things. So basically, this is the meditation in the mode of passion. So something that is related to bring comfort for the mind and body, and also the sense gratification. And as for the meditation in a mode of ignorance, this is something that can be described as meditating on things related to destruction, with the negative thoughts, with the negative thoughts about others, with the desire to commit some bad deeds, or let's say violence. And whenever a person is having a plan, or maybe even just imagining how one would hurt another one, or break something, this would be classified as the meditation in the mode of ignorance. And as for the affirmations, this is something that in general what we would classify into categories of slogans or some mantras or something like that. So as for the affirmation in the mode of goodness, these are the words or slogans, or maybe inner mood that could be described as wishing good to others, or wishing to help others, or expressing some gratitude towards what one has, or his desire to help others. So one of the affirmations would be, I wish happiness to all others. And as for affirmations in the mode of passion, this is something that could be classified as slogans like I'm rich, I want to be even I want to have even more wealth, and I'll get more, something like that. So these are the affirmations in the mode of passion. So when a person thinks of one's of their success, of what they will get, and this is something which goes along with the meditation. As the previous conductor of the modes, the same one as the meditation, in the same way as the meditation in passion, as well as the affirmations in passion, with the, for example, contemplating the vision board, and internally, or maybe even verbally pronouncing things like I'm rich, I'll get more. I'm happy, I'm successful, I'm this and that. So something that would bring happiness. So these are all things that would be classified like as the words. This would be classified as the affirmations in the mode of passion. And also, as for the affirmations in the mode of ignorance, this is something where a person would think of oneself as a victim of the internal circumstances, when one would probably say something like, they are the problem, and that's why I suffer. So this is being in the sort of like a childlike position, where one is not really able to understand what is good and what is bad, with some sort of delusion, or think that life is not fair. So this would be if one is contemplating a certain idea internally, like in this way, which would involve something negative. So this would be an affirmation in the mode of ignorance. And as for the rituals, this is something that could be classified as let's say either religious rituals, or something that is like a graduation or marriage, or maybe funeral, or maybe when one is one is initiated in a certain spiritual tradition, or when one is initiated into certain science, or becomes a student somewhere. So this could be sort of classified as rituals. And for those which are in goodness, these are the rituals that bring clarity about certain aspect of knowledge, about what one's duties are, how to do these duties, and the reason behind them. Some vows that the people would make there, which would bring some sort of positive impact on others around them, which would bring harmony and clarity in the society there. So this would be classified as sort of like rituals in the mode of goodness. And for those in the mode of passion, this would be classified as rituals rituals made for some material benefits, like you can think of some kind of a worship of a materially successful person, like an employer or maybe a business partner. and treating them in a certain way, making offerings to them, or serving them with the expectation of return. So this would be sort of like a ritual in the mode of passion. And as for the rituals in the mode of ignorance, this is something that is related to worshiping like ghosts or spirits, or some some um, some uh, some so-called spiritual practices that are not confirmed by the um, authority spiritual traditions. And in these rituals, um, either some sacrifice is made, which would include some killing of somebody or something like that. And these were the rituals. These were the rituals in the three modes. And the next part is going to be the link with modern psychology. So basically, all the psychological disorders are caused by the impact of by the modes of passion and ignorance. And if we would sometimes see that a person experiences some sort of either depression or bipolar disorder, or maybe schizophrenia, or maybe some other sorts of um, the personality disorders, like of cluster A, B, or C, or some other disorders that can be classified by DSM-5 or ICD-10 classification of diseases. And in all of those cases, we would see that, for instance, in the when it comes to depression, we would clearly see that it's the impact of the mode of ignorance. Or, for instance, if it's a bipolar disorder, it means that it's a switching impact of passion and then ignorance, and then back and forth. Or, for instance, with the narcissistic personality disorder, we would have a huge impact of passion with some elements of ignorance, with the inflated ego, or false ego, negligence to others, putting one's desires like in the first place. And the same could be classified for all the other psychological disorders. And basically, the different types of therapies of different modalities, be it psychoanalysis, cognitive behavioral therapy, or let's say humanistic therapies, all of them are aimed at bringing clarity or goodness to the mental state, and also to eliminate the elements of passion and ignorance. And also in psychology, as well as in physiology, we would find things that are called neurotransmitters, and as well know that they impact our mental state in a certain way. And let's say if it's let's say anger could be classified as a huge level of noradrenaline, or let's say mania would be described with the impact of dopamine, or anxiety would be classified as a very low dopamine. The same could be applied to many other many other emotions or feelings that we would experience, even a certain type of mood. And you can also find on the internet the classification of feelings, of inner feelings. And there is a chart that displays these things. And basically, as for the neurotransmitters with the corresponding inner states, with the neurotransmitters, we would see that it's also a certain impact of goodness, passion, and ignorance in their combinations. And let's say if there is a simple formula that describes the following. If a person contemplates the objects of the objects of the sense objects that would potentially bring pleasure, with that process, a person develops attachment to them, and from attachment there the lust or desire arises, and if this desire is not satisfied, it turns into anger. So desire would be the product of the mode of passion, and if it's not satisfied, it would turn into anger, which would be the product of the mode of ignorance. And whenever a person experiences a certain mental state, a certain inner feeling, it means that a certain that a certain mode is having an impact on them, and it also changes the level of a certain neurotransmitter there in their body. And I would also mention that happiness in the three qualities would be described as following. So the happiness in the mode of goodness would be described would be classified as something that in the beginning is experienced as poison, but in the end is like nectar, something that comes from self-realization, from experiencing, from studying a certain knowledge from, let's say, the Holy Scriptures. And this is something where we would say that a person is really able to experience happiness from within. So in order to actually feel that, one should cultivate the life in the mode of goodness, and also getting in contact with the conductors, with the conductors that are in goodness. And if one is actually able to do it, it means that he has the qualification to actually experience happiness in the mode of goodness, and thus experience it coming from within. And if we talk about the happiness in the mode of passion, this is something that comes from the contact of the senses with the sense objects. And let's say if it's a delicious food, we would experience it with our tongue. And let's say it's a luxury restaurant where a pleasant music is playing, where everything looks beautiful. So this would be happiness in the mode of passion. And in the beginning, it's experienced as the nectar, but in the end, it feels like poison. Think of like your favorite dish, and imagine that you're eating it for 1 month straight, and every day. So at some point, you would realize that it's not delicious anymore. There is nothing more special in it, and at some point you would desire to switch to something else. So with the happiness in the mode of passion, this is something that requires to switch from one thing to another, one movie and then another movie, one food and then another, one activity, and like switching back and forth. And as for the happiness in the mode of ignorance, this is something that could be described as trying to enjoy either excessive sleep, or being deluded by the intoxicants, with the clouded mind. So these are all sorts of happiness in the mode of ignorance. And as for the 4 areas of life, I know that there are different ways to categorize them, and one of them that I use is the physical area of life, as well as the emotional and social combined, intellectual and spiritual as well. And basically, if we consider the mode of goodness, it means that in terms of physical area of life, it means being able to go to sleep early, to wake up early, to eat healthy food, to have a balance between work and leisure time, to walk at least let's say 1 hour a day, doing physical activities in a balanced way, to have a good health in general. And also, as for the emotional and social area of life, it would be in the mode of goodness, it would be experiencing a calm, harmonious, and at the same time enthusiastic state of mind, being kind to others, being able to have a developed emotional intelligence, to see, to know, when one knows what he's feeling, when he's able to see what others feel as well, and to act in a corresponding way as well. And as for this intellectual area of life, this is when one has an ability to concentrate on things, to think about something, to be productive at work. And as for the spiritual one, it would be being serious on the spiritual path, studying the scriptures, doing the spiritual practice as well. And the next part is going to be relationships of three qualities. This is something that is going to be covered in the future videos on the relationships in goodness. And as for relationships in goodness, when it comes to let's say between friends or parents, or let's say between a man and woman when they're husband and wife, this is something, let's say if we consider in this particular case relationships between a man and woman, and relationships in goodness would be considered as where they understand each other, where they accept the nature of another person, where they accept the differences as well, where a man does his duties in the family, and where the woman does her duties in the family, where there is an understanding, also an ability to go through conflicts in a like soft way, with the mutual understanding, with the I statement, with the ability to express oneself in a positive way. And this is an atmosphere of trust, of mutual help as well. And if we consider the relationships in the mode of passion, this is something where a man and woman would try to exploit each other on a subtle level, where a man would exploit the beauty of his woman, and where a woman in such relationships would exploit, let's say, the wealth of her man. And this is something where where not always there would be mutual understanding, where there would be some conflicts, some play of the false ego, name calling, and also being ambitious, also dressing up in a certain way. And as for the relationships in the mode of ignorance, this is where we would see some psychological or physical violence, where a woman is afraid of her man, or where a man does some wrong things, or where a wife does some wrong things, where there is not really a mutual understanding. This is basically where most divorces take place. And the next part is going to be for again for the four areas of life. And basically goodness in all of these four areas would be a balance and development in them. And passion and ignorance would be about imbalance or negligence. Let's say a person works too hard at work, and he barely sleeps, his health is worse, despite the fact that he earns more, he has some problems in the family relationships. Or let's say if a person is too focused on studying the scriptures, which would be a combination of the spiritual as well as the intellectual areas of life. And let's say he barely eats, or if he doesn't work, so it means that the first two areas of life would suffer here. So the balance as well as development are needed in all four of them, because otherwise it's an impact of passion or ignorance, as well as it could be also called fanaticism. And the state of goodness is when there is balance and development in all of these four areas. Also, as for the mode of goodness, we can also say that modern psychology mostly deals with the psyche, or something that could be called the subtle body, and also some aspects of the physical or gross body. And its techniques usually help to solve some mental problems and can only bring some sense of happiness and goodness, but rarely going beyond that. So this is something where the philosophy as well as the Holy Scriptures would help, because modern psychology is mostly materialistic. It only takes into consideration, in most cases, it only takes into consideration psyche, the subtle body, as well as the physical body. And also know that in some therapies of the humanistic psychology, like the one that was developed by Viktor Frankl, as well as his method of logotherapy, it actually does involve understanding of a living entity as having the spiritual core, as having the spiritual core, which is the core of the personality, and that spiritual core has the subtle body as well as the physical body. So there is the triple unity of that understanding. And the mode of goodness, it could be also viewed as a bridge to spiritual development. And if we consider it from the opposite point of view, it means that if a person is mostly under the impact of passion and ignorance, it means it would be very difficult for him to actually sit down and start reading the Holy Scriptures of a certain tradition, or maybe to go to church, or to listen to some preaching by somebody, or to at least to comprehend an advice from a saintly person. So sattva, and the mode of the mode of goodness is something that actually brings an inner clarity and inner qualification in order to actually understand the spiritual path and to move on it. And also, so these were the 10 conductors of the three qualities, the three modes of nature. And there is actually also something that lays beyond the impact of the of goodness, something that could be considered as spiritual goodness. So let's say for the first conductor, which was considered was the sources of information, and those sources of information that would be considered in spiritual goodness, this would be the Holy Scriptures of a certain tradition. As for food, the one in spiritual goodness would be considered food that is prepared in according to the rules of a certain spiritual tradition, and then offered to God. So you can think of a prayer of Christians before they sit down and eat. So this is something that could be called as when the food is spiritualized by this act. And as for the associations, those in the mode of spiritual goodness, best are those where people of the same spiritual tradition, they meet together, or maybe they live together if it's a monastery, and when they do a spiritual, they follow a spiritual path together. For the locations, the one that is in the mode of spiritual goodness would be the locations of the temples or the monasteries or some holy places in different parts of the world. And as for the time of the day, the best time for the spiritual practice would be, let's say, a person wakes up some 1.5 hours before the sunrise. He then baths and starts to pray, to meditate, or to read the Holy Scriptures. This is the best time for it, starting from 1.5 hours before the sunrise and until some 7 a.m. This is the best time for it. For the activities, the best ones are that are when one acts in accordance to not in order to gratify one's senses, but in the mode of service to others, and in best case as a service to God in all their activities. And this is actually something that is going to be covered in the next part of the next slide. And the birth in the spiritual goodness is the one when a person is born in the from the parents who are spiritual people who study the scriptures, who live according to the holy scriptures, and who have a good character and who know how to do the duties in the society. And as for the meditation, the best one is the best one which is in the spiritual goodness is the one when one prays with the holy names of the Lord, or with reading the prayers from the prayer book, like in Christianity. And as for the affirmations in the spiritual goodness, these are let's say the prayers that can be read from the holy books. And as for the rituals, the best ones that are that can be found in a certain spiritual tradition, something that brings the spiritual goodness in people. And the final part of this video is about our free will, and basically we can apply it in the two fundamental ways. And the first one is with the focus on the material nature, with the focus in mind on the material nature, with the desire to enjoy the fruits that we would obtain from it. And if a person works in such a consciousness, it means that he is in the duality of happiness and distress, and that is depending on the conditioning by one of the three qualities or a mix of them. And if we talk about some higher understanding of using the free will, then this is the mood of service to God. So basically, whatever we do, either mentally, physically, or verbally, if we do it in the mood of service to God, it means that with that we will be able to go beyond the impact of the three qualities. So basically, to come to the level of the spiritual goodness, it could be also called in this way, and would also go beyond the impact of the related fruits of activities. So it means that that we won't obtain either good or bad results that we would have to either enjoy or suffer. So it means that we would still get something that is best for us, for our spiritual development, and with that we would also achieve the ever-increasing happiness. So to conclude, in this video we've covered the topics of the three modes of material nature, and these are called the goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we also mentioned and we also talked about the 10 conductors of these qualities. And goodness is best of them all. It is most beneficial, and also the link with psychology, and that it mostly deals with with bringing goodness and also eliminating the impact of passion and ignorance, and also the 4 areas of life, and then they have to be developed in balance, and also the aspect of going beyond the 3 qualities, and this happens through a spiritual practice which brings the ever-increasing happiness, and this is called the spiritual goodness. So that's it for today, and thank you for your attention.